Dr. Roni, thank you for participating in Faculty Spotlight series. So we invited you because students consistently commend your slides, your lecture slides for, how thoughtful they are in their design, but also your ability to translate complex concepts into accessible information. So we thought it would be helpful for you to share the key principles that inform the design of your lecture slides. So I'm going to turn it over to you to share with us how you go about designing your lecture slides.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ogo, for this wonderful opportunity. So today I would like to share the three principles I use for our PowerPoint designs. The first thing I focus on is to replace our text with the visuals for complex topics. And the next thing usually I try is to add interactive elements like adding practice questions and some games. And the third thing I think is important is summarize at the end. So I will give you some quick examples here. The first one, as I talked about, replacing lots of text with visuals. It could be a diagram, and slide is actually showing a bird's eye view of the topics. Is usually I show it before I start going into deep with the topic. So it's just giving a bird's eye view of what things, how they are organized. And then when I have some complex drug mechanism of action, usually I show them with some visuals like images. And if we have a description of all these mechanisms, I try to put them in the notes section and then focus in during the class the visuals. So, and the visuals usually to reduce the cognitive load, usually I present them part by part. Like here, as you can see, the drugs of Parkinson's disease, we start with levodopa, then we just move on to the next slide. It shows that levodopa can be broken down, metabolized into two parts. Then the two drugs that work here, they will work in these areas. And most of the time, if we have a very complex image, I can also try to draw here, like to focus on these areas or these areas, certain areas. I can focus that these are the things I would like the students to know or focus on. Then in the next slide, I can move further, like in the neurotransmitter, dopamine, how it's broken down, and then which drugs work on these areas. So step by step, we can show them, so it will help them to actually see the sequence. Otherwise, we can use any markers or something to highlight that this is the area I would like them to focus on. The second thing is like interactive elements. Usually we use poll everywhere where we can use some case questions which are related to our learning objectives. And these case questions usually are based on the topics that we have been studying during the session. And then we will also give them some hints, like we will highlight some areas that these are the hints. Based on this, you can try to answer the question. And when they use the poll, so this is anonymous poll, so the students don't feel shy that, okay, so someone will judge me if I give a wrong answer. So anyway, so whenever I see the answers, and based on that, I will ask the students, so if you have selected the correct answer, what is the rationale, why you selected it? And also we go through the explanation why the wrong answer is a wrong answer. So these things actually, these interactive elements makes the students more engaged in the session. And also sometimes I use games, but for the sake of time, I am not showing any example here. The third and last thing usually I use is summarization of all the things we have talked about. It's like a take-home message. Usually it's within a one slide or two slide. We summarize the high yield information. Most for my case, most of the time it becomes a pharmacology slides, it's mechanism of action, what's the indication and what's the adverse effects. So I try to summarize them in this way, and the students really like it.
Thank you, Dr. Roni. That's very helpful. So, if faculty were to make just one change to their slides, incorporate one change, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I would recommend if you can just put a summary slide at the end. That is something, one change, a small change you can try, because most of the students actually request me to do that if I didn't have any slides. So this is something probably you will feel like hide information, the take home message, the student you know you want them to remember. So those are the things you put it in the summary slide.